Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be on a Monday night for Monday Night Lights here, the home on the top split, I should say. As always, here for the best skippy action in town. We are here this week for round 7 at Sonoma, and should be interesting tonight. I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me tonight once again for his second stint in the boxes, Mr. Alex John. Alex, different sort of set of circumstances this week. Not the most popular track, but certainly plenty of action ahead of us here tonight.
Tonight who don't like it, but that's given a chance to a few of the guys that maybe would be second split regulars to have an appearance in the top split, and who knows, they could do a Timmer Weimer and make a run at the podium this week.
Yeah, absolutely. They could indeed. Now, speaking of the Golden Stig, he's out there on track tonight. Had a bit of a rough race in the race preceding to this in the lovely Team Venom livery, of course, with having some golden equipment failure. But hopefully he'll be all squared away now and ready for a big night ahead. Benjamin Smith, the number one plated car tonight, local ANZ boy, of course. He is very quick in quite a number of cars, so it'll be interesting to see how the top rated I-rated driver here tonight, 6,238 odd I rating. You don't sort of get that for nothing. The strength of field here tonight down a bit on what we normally expected, about 2,760 odd, but this track, love it or loathe it, it's what we got. And the skippy drivers this week, particularly some of the regulars, notable mentions not around. Both our series contenders in Hawke and Grebstad and Fahim Antoinette missing their first weeks in, I can't remember how long. But I don't know about you, AJ, but I quite enjoy this layout. It's quite challenging, typical of a lot of US circuits with the changes in elevation. And I don't know, I quite enjoy it. What about you?
Yeah, well, this is one of the most challenging tracks from the Americas, I reckon. You've basically got two reverse corkscrews in turns 1, 2, and 3 and 4. The car getting light as you go over the crest, so really challenging. And I just had a look, and it's 48 degrees on track today. So, it might not be a very powerful car to skip Barber, but keeping that rear end in check is going to be key to doing well in this race today.
Yeah, absolutely correct there, mate. Just grabbing a look through some of the lesser known names in our field. Mr. Friday Night Race Club himself, Brian Sheridan, on picture at the moment, making his debut in the top split tonight. Great to see him. Lucky 13 plated driver here tonight. Hopefully it all goes well for him. Les Peck, another fantastic community member of the local ANZ club. Fantastic to see Les in. He's had a couple of appearances in the top split from memory, but great to see him back in. And of course, we had your teammate, Soul teammate, I've seen a couple of them in the chat tonight, but not out on track. Russell Clark, lone representative for Team Milo tonight, looking for a good result. And Team of Escalampy, great to see the Finnish driver with his Kappa laden livery out on track tonight. Number 2 plated driver here tonight. We don't see him too often, but he's a great driver, great guy. Fantastic to see him out here, keeping the interest in the racing here for Monday Night Lights here at Sonoma.
Yeah, well, just going back to Russell Clark again, and he's the only driver out of the top 5 in the championship that have made an appearance tonight. So this is going to be a really good chance for Russell to bag some points for the Monday Night Light Championship. I'm hoping it goes well for him as a Team Milo driver. But anything could happen here because we've got so many drivers that perhaps unfamiliar to the top split and the tricky track, hot track. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen tonight.
Well, of course, the key with so many unfamiliar faces for the drivers here are fighting out for the Monday Night Lights Championship, of course, is to qualify up the front. And Russell yet to set a time at this stage. But if I can just grab our current season's championship standings for him, Antonides and Hawkon Grebstead, both not here tonight. Skoltzy in P3, he's relegated to chat tonight as well. And as you say, Russell Clark, first one in the race tonight in P4. Great chance for Russell to grab some much needed points and move up the order here. Let's hope it goes well for him tonight. Sean Carron not here, Ben Furhoff either. Mark Jeffrey I know is floating around but may still be in the second split. Ian Bevan I've seen in chat tonight. Haven't seen Simon. And, of course, the Golden Stig after his first appearance and first podium in the top split last week. He's in the top 10 now, and he's had a bit of pace around here, so he tells us. So, hopefully he can have another good run in the top split tonight, as we see Mick Gray now coming across to finish his qualifying run now in the 10-plated car. Great bloke, great driver in Mick Gray. He's dropped in a 1:49.6, and that puts him all the way down in P12, not where he'd be looking to be tonight, but provisionally on pole. Benjamin Smith, top-rated driver and quickest so far as the guys round out their qualifications, Alex.
Yeah, it's looking like Benjamin is going to have a fair bit of speed on the rest of the field potentially. Timo's just put in a really good lap as well, only about 2/10 off Ben. But looking at that mid-pack though, there's about 5 or 6 cars separated by about 1/10 of a second. So we could be watching a lot of action in the mid-pack tonight.
Absolutely. The Golden Stig once again out qualifying Russell Clark tonight, your teammate, I should say, and coming around to finish out his final qualification lap. Where's the Golden Stig going to finish up? Has he improved on his time? Yes, he has, up to P4, ahead of the likes of Kevin Henderson and Chris Malcolm and Russell Clark. Fantastic job from the Stig, and chasing down his second podium in 2 weeks, AJ.
Yeah, well, Tim, I don't know where he's pulled this from, because he's made such an improvement in the last couple of weeks. And last week he was starting sort of mid-pack. There's no real pressure, but now he knows that he can race up the front, and he's starting in P4 right up the front as well. Like, how's he going to handle that pressure tonight?
Yeah, well, great to see him doing. I know he's been putting in the hard yards, so he's been putting in the time to study and sort of try and better master his craft. So good to see it paying off tonight, and congratulations to him on what is a fantastic effort, putting it in the top 5. So while I think we've got a few moments left, let me just find. I can never find this camera that I want, and I don't think it's even there. No, it's not there. Cannot find it. Oh well, we're going to just do this one. All right, let's just take a look at our grid as qualifying winds down to a close. Benjamin Smith, first of the ANZ drivers, with a 1:47.8. He has qualified on pole. Timo Vaskalampi, first of the overseas drivers from Finland. He has qualified in P2. P3, Michael Fiedler. P4, the Golden Stig himself, Tim Awema. P5, Kevin Henderson representing ANZ. P6, Chris Malcolm from UK&I. P7, Russell Clark, Team Milo and ANZ club member. P8 went to Jean-Francois Boscas from France. P9, Samuel Collins from ANZ. P10, Francisco Javier Cano Rodriguez from Iberian. Our lone Iberian here tonight, our regulars, not showing up. P11, Paul J. Crone from California. Mick Gray in P12, last of the MNL point scorers so far as they line up. P13, Les Peck. P14, Jason Browers. P15, Brian Sheridan. P16, Simon Chambers. I called him, is not in the field. He is, in fact, taking the grid. Craig Briley in P17 as they get ready to get underway. Why don't we take a quick look at the race info? Round 7, of course, here at Sonoma. 14 laps, 12 turns, about 56 Ks here tonight, which is a bit further than we normally see. Track temp 44 degrees Celsius. I tell you what, that could be the deciding factor here tonight, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tricky track. There's really not many passing opportunities, at least not draft passing. They're really going to have to muscle their way past tonight, and coupled with a hot track and tight corners, it's going to be a tricky one.
Yeah, absolutely. Last of the drivers, the Golden Stig himself, holding up, probably doing his pre-race review as opposed to his post-race review. We might see what his thoughts on the race are, see what he's doing at later on in the race when we have a look at his cockpit on his stream. Of course, if you're interested in seeing firsthand what's going on in the Stig's cockpit, head over to Robius_TV on Twitch, and you'll see our part-time commentator, part-time MNL racer, live as the lights come up. Everyone's now on the grid. The red lights are on. The revs are rising. green, and we're away. This for round 7 of Monday Night Lights, all getting away pretty cleanly. Everyone making their way around turn 1 and up the hill into turn 2. Line astern for the most part. A little bit of contact heard in the midfield there. The front runners getting away pretty cleanly. Oh, except Michael Fiedler forced to take a bit of an excursion. Whoa, the rear of that car not looking very stable at all. Not sure if he's hanging around yet. No, he's ejected out of that one. Might have copped a bit of damage there. Might see if we can pick up what happened there later on in the race. Everyone else seemed to be carrying on okay, and the front of this pack, Golden Stig already up into the podium positions and fighting off Kevin Henderson. What does this race hold for these drivers from here on out, AJ?
Yeah, well, it looks like the top 4 have managed to get a nice little gap on Russell Clark. He's moved up 2 spots in the P5, but you know, a small gap already. Can they just settle down? Oh, as we have a spinner in the background there. So yeah, mid-pack's going to provide action. Can these top 4 though just settle down and make a break?
Yeah, it looks like Rodriguez was the spinner out the back. Michael Fiedler, no, it was Simon Chambers. No, he's tailed right off the back, and Rodriguez further back, further still off the back. Timmer Weeman now tucked in front of Kevin Henderson, but it's Timu Vascalampi and Benjamin Smith all over the front of this race themselves with a 1.1 second lead already. I know the Golden Stig's improved a fair bit, but he might struggle with the likes of Timu and Benjamin Smith. Those guys really know how to steer. It'll be interesting to see how he goes as he defends. Takes a nice defensive line there. Both guys in front of their respective pairs there in Ps 1 and 3, taking defensive lines and defending very well. Interesting to see what sort of pressure. We know Kevin Henderson can apply it. How can Timmer Weemer hold him off or take the pressure that we know Kevin can apply? We know Kevin likes his racing, as does Timu and Ben up in front. So fantastic race shaping up for these podium positions now as they go 2 by 2 on the start of lap 2.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Timu goes. Timu has had a bit of a break, and he's only just recently returned to racing. Racing in VR, I believe, and yeah, getting used to it. But it looks like he's back on it as hot as ever, putting in the fast laps and matching Ben at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. We know just judging by his iRating, Ben, it's, as you said, 6,200 odd. He knows how to steer many a car, but I've seen him in these before and he goes all right, let me tell you. But so does Timu. So it's great to see Timu showing up and having a good run as well, right up the front of this pretty low strength of field, really. Like we said, at about 2,760, not what we're used to seeing, well over the 3,000 mark, but still right up there with the top splits of the week. This track, of course, keeping a fair few people away, unjustifiably in my book, because the more you race it, the more you love it around here. It's a lot of fun in the Skippy. It has a good flow to it if you manage to wrangle it and sort of get to grips with it. A lot of off-camber and, as we say, undulating parts of this circuit make it a challenge, but certainly one worth undertaking if you get the chance, as these guys run towards the tail end of lap 2 here as they come down to the final hairpin at turn 11. Very tight line there from Benjamin Smith. Lovely driving through there, really maximising his run through there and taking the tightest of line there. Really just Timu hanging on at the moment by the looks, not really challenging too much, perhaps looking to see if they can get a gap, and get a gap they have. Timmer Weemer now on front of Kevin Henderson. They themselves are about a second ahead of Russell Clark. Russell almost in the draft now, but fantastic drive from the Stig. He's got Kevin Henderson tucked in behind him, and Kevin showing a good deal of patience now that they're on lap 3 of 14 here tonight, and I don't know whether he's being patient or whether he's just hanging on for the ride at this stage, but both of them doing a great job as they head down this very challenging section of the course now as they approach the run up to the carousel through turn 5 now, up and then down again through the carousel at turn 6. What's your approach to this corner, AJ?
Look, this one you've just got to be so careful. Oh, as we see Kevin get through on Tim there, yeah, you've got to be careful. As I was about to say, you can't run wide, and as you see, Tim's run wide, giving Kevin the opportunity, and I think that Kevin is going to just try and run away with it here. Last lap, I was watching Tim, and his lines through the S's as they're coming up to the S's now, just a little scrappy, and that's what's let Russell come back into this and has let Ben and Timu skip away. So Kevin, not the most patient of people, I would say. So perhaps it might be a blessing in disguise for Kevin to get through and not have to force a pass on Tim.
Yeah, well, we saw, as we see, Russell Clark go through again towards the tail end of this lap. Tim going on a bit of an excursion there. We might cut across to the Stig, just see what he's doing in that cockpit as we see a bit of a delay there on him grabbing the position, well, grabbing the track back again as Russell Clark went past there. You can see what it looks like in the cockpit for the Golden Stig there. He's got his work cut out for him to see if he can hang on to this top 5 position after qualifying well. Gaining a one and then dropping back one straight after. So hopefully he can continue on there and get a good result as we see the front two now back up in this race of 2. It has to be said they're 3.5 seconds odd clear of the rest of the field, and look, it's really theirs to lose from here, and Team are doing a great job of putting pressure. He's only 2.5 tenths behind, really nose to tail stuff, not putting any pressure on other than, hey, I'm in your mirrors, I'll have a look at any mistake you got to make as they head down through turn 6 now, the carousel, sweeping downhill corner that'll spit you out the other end if you get the jump on the gas wrong. And look, I reckon Team is doing a great job. I wish we'd see him more often. In fact, I wish we'd see both of them more often as they're putting on a good show here tonight, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Timu, it'd be smart just to tuck in. It's only lap 4 of 14, so if it was me, I'd like to just tuck in, and if Ben makes a mistake, then yeah, absolutely go for it. But if you start battling in these types of corners, then you can lose time so quickly because really there's only one line through these turns, and if you run wide, you get on the grass, you just lose so much time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just jumping back in the field here, we've got a battle going on here between Paul Crone and Jason Browers. They themselves car plated 14 and 16 here tonight, fighting it out for P9 and 10. I don't know about you, AJ, but I don't really care where I finish in the field as long as I've had fun along the way. And these two look to be having a great time. Speaking of having a great time, just behind them we've got Brian Sheridan, Mr. Friday Night Race Club himself. He's just over a second off these two, but itching to get into the battle, I'm sure. And behind him as well, we mentioned Les Peck, one of the Team Venom drivers earlier on tonight. Great community member, great supporter of Skippy Racing and racing in general in ANZ Club, and he's out there having a ball with Mick Gray, another stalwart of the club. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but Mick won the very first ever Monday Night Lights race, and it looks like he's had a bit of an adventure here already tonight, missing his rear wing and driving a Formula Ford by the looks, a new feature to iRacing by the looks, mixed category Skippy Racing. But no, Mick's a great bloke and he's a really canny racer, so he'll be doing what he can sans his rear wing. As we jump back up the front, Team are putting pressure all over the back of Benjamin Smith still as they battle this one out in the mid stages of lap 5 with a balance of 10 remaining, 9.5 as they go around the back hairpin now, AJ.
Yeah, Mick missing his wing there. I just had a quick look, and that was Craig Bailey just getting into the back of him, going through that long left-hander turn 6. So unfortunate for Mick. That's going to make for a very interesting handling car in these hot conditions. But yeah, back up front, it's just holding station. Smart racing. Yeah, as I expect, Timu should just sit in there and just see where Ben's strong, where he's weak, and where he might be able to make a move. And yeah, I'm just watching Timu here. He's having a little bit of a look around the outside, but even here, it's so hard to get a pass done because you're basically going to be hung out going the long way around on the outside of this long left-hander.
Yeah, absolutely. I watched that move there. He had a good look up the inside, forced Ben Smith to run wide out of the final corner, although it might have been that's partially of his own doing there. I watched a bit of racing here during the week as well as doing some of my own, and some of the quick guys here, the likes of Dennis Johansson, who I saw do a few races here this week, can really manufacture things, and that's what you've got to do here. Put your nose up the inside, force the guy to run wide, move yourself to the outside to compromise the line and then crisscross over. And I tell you what, he put on a display in a couple of the races I watched earlier here this week, but it shows the nature of this track is not your typical skippy racing where you can draft to pass. It's got to be pressure to pass, manufacture what you can as these two go on out ahead. And as you were saying before, Kevin Henderson now, he's got a bit of a gap. He's about 1.7 seconds clear out in third position with a trailing pack led by your teammate and Russell Clark and the Golden Stig, with Samuel Collins and Chris Malcolm making this a racy pack of four as they go around the back section of the track now towards the tail end of lap 6 here through the snaking sections of 8A, 8 and 9 on the way down through, coming through the sweeping turn 9 now into turn 10, which really sets you up for the only sort of threshold braking passing opportunity that's legit as they come into the final corner now at turn 11. Line astern, Stiggy taking that nice tight line through there, middle of this angry pack, and plenty of action going on in the midfield there, AJ.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say the pressure's getting to Tim, but going into that hairpin a little bit defensive, so he is definitely conscious of those around him. But yeah, great to see Russell actually having a good run. Oh, is Tim? Oh, looks like he's gotten into the back of Russell there.
Oh, we might go and grab a quick look at that. He won't be happy with that. I was going to try a live cross, but if he's got a bit of the red mist going, we might wait till do that till things calm down a little bit as we came up the hill. And yeah, looks like, I don't know if he carried more speed or he just got loose there in the rear of his own accord. Let's drop back a little bit more again. Have another look at that from on board the Golden Stig. See what it looks like. The run up that hill.
I think he may have just gotten light as he went over the crest, and it's so easy to do in these cars and this hot weather. You go up over the crest, the car unloads, and the rear end just comes around.
I think he, by the looks of that, he was carrying an awful lot more speed. Looked like he could have made the corner there all right, just had a bit more speed, and then a bit of phantom contact in the end is what brought him undone, just unsettled the front of his car. And I say phantom contact because it only affected him and not Russell in front by the looks. So bad luck for the Stig tonight. Still in the points in P7, sporting a little bit of wing damage, but that's about it, and carrying on with his race. Jumping back up to the front though, we've got once again Timo Vascalampi and Ben Smith really owning this race. Now out to a 4.5 second lead ahead of Kevin Henderson, who we can see trailing off in the background. These two just racing it amongst themselves, racing smart here. Timo waiting for his opportunity, taking a tighter line there through turns 1 and 2, coming on the run to turn 3 here. All the track being used there and a bit extra, making sure they get the right line through 3A here. Challenging corner down here at turn 4, downhill braking, trying to make the apex and the off-camber nature of this corner. Many of the corners on this track being off-camber and making it challenging for the drivers out here tonight. But in the challenge there is a bit of fun, AJ.
Yeah, well, I was surprised when you say this corner was challenging because I don't really know that there's a corner on this track that isn't challenging. But yeah, you can see Timo's just taking a few different lines. He's getting quite close to Ben, so is he thinking about making a move? It is lap 8. Yeah, he pulls to the inside. He's just not quite close enough, but Ben leaves him room, and that's Timo through to the P1. So now we'll be able to see if Timu's actually got the pace to stick ahead of Ben, or whether Ben is going to be able to fight back.
Yeah, lovely move up the inside there, the hairpin out the back of turns 7 and 7A. Double apexing, not your traditional type of hairpin, but certainly a good passing opportunities. The two of them run nose to tail there through the tail end, through turn 10 there, it's sweeping fourth gear right hand as they come in. Smith not standing for that, taking a very tight line out, braking and coming out the other end. What can Vascalampi do now as they run to the line now? Forced to the outside of the final corner now. Not really having the drive. Smith forcing him to go the long way around, but that will give him the run into turn 2, but he has to go the long way around. Will it be enough? Up the inside. No, it's so tight there. They're side by side. Spotter's going nuts, telling you there's someone there. You're just waiting for that clear call, and finally it comes as Vascalampi pulls in right behind Smith once again. Fantastic driving by both guys, and certainly earning their 4 and 6K I rating respectively.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fantastic racing, but they're going to want to be careful. They have got Kevin Henderson behind, and yeah, that lap they still managed to. Oh no, actually they lost 0.8 of a second to Kevin Henderson on that lap. So, if they keep this up, it's only lap 9. There's still 5 to go. That could bring Kevin into it.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of time to play with, of course, but you don't want to waste all of that gap that you've built. Russell Clark now in P4 ahead of Chris Malcolm, who's tucked in behind him, about 0.8 behind. Then you've got Samuel Collins in behind there as they go around that double apexing corner out the back there at turn 7 and 7A respectively. This pack of 4 now with Tim Awema back on the back of it. He's done well to get back on. He was on the front of this group. He's on the back now. He had that unfortunate incident at the tail end of at the top end of one of the previous laps. We might bring the Golden Stig in here on board now with Mr. Awema. Now joining us here for a live cross here, Tim. Had a bit of an incident earlier on as you come into that final hairpin. Now, how's the race unfold for you from here?
Yeah, Alex, it's been pretty eventful. Look, firstly, sorry to Mr. Fiddler. I accidentally took him out, and I go back and look at the replay. I probably dived on him. But look, it's been very eventful, very fast guys tonight.
Yeah, mate, looks like you've had your work cut out for you. Great qualifying run there, and certainly not out of it yet with a P4 on offer if you can catch up to these blokes and get amongst it in the final few laps, mate. All the best with the remainder of your race, and we look forward to seeing having a bit of a chat at the end.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
There you go, folks. That was the Golden Stig live during his race. Looks like it might have cost him a fraction of time, but hopefully he can get back in there. Thanks, of course, to Tim, who does some commentary with us here at from time to time, and out there on race day, making the most of it today. As we jump back up the front, we've got Ben Smith and Timu Vascalampi once again going at it hammer and tong. For Ps 1 and 2, with Kevin Henderson off in the background, once again out by nearly 4.2 seconds now, and he's drifting off as these guys have settled back down with just the balance of, the 4.2 laps remaining, balance of 5, so interesting as the laps wind down to see if Timu has another crack, AJ.
Yeah, that's it. They've settled back down now, back into the low 48, so been able to stabilise that gap. Did I see Timu? Yeah, he's made a move into the hairpin there. So, it's on. This is quite early to be battling, but, it looks like these guys are comfortable with the gap they've got, so they're going to go for it from here on out.
Yeah, absolutely. Timu making the move and getting it done as they run up to turn 2 now. Again, this elevation change here, making that corner very challenging. It spits you on the outside of turn 2 there. You want to use the whole track, but certainly not run off or run wide here. As once again going uphill, the ripple strips here are very potent in so much as some of them very loose in the rear there, so to speak, for Timu, as Smith putting pressure all over the back of him. The ripple strips here can work, depending on which one they are, they can work for you or work against you as they come through the sweeping turn 6 once again, down through what other than the carousel. Every US track's got one, and this one is probably more challenging than most as they run up once again to up the back straight into turn 7 and 7A. Too wide they go. Smith looking up the inside. Vascalampi giving him the room. Will he try the cut back on the second part of it? Doesn't have the drive and probably not there to get it done. Tucks him behind once again on the tail end of lap 11. Three to go when they cross the line this time, AJ.
Yeah, and I was just having a look. Chris Malcolm having a go at Russell Clark there into the hairpin. So a nice little battle pack forming there. We've got Russell, Chris, and Samuel Collins all fairly tight together at the moment.
Yeah, those three putting on a good show. The Stig, he's just tucked in about, still, just about a second. He just dropped to a second then as I crossed to him there. He's still in this with a show, particularly if these guys start getting racy with Russell on the front of this pack, fending off Malcolm and Collins. We know Collins has got some pace and knows how to use it. He'll be looking to get right amongst this as Malcolm shows the nose there behind the Team Milo representative here tonight. Russell forcing him to the outside, but we know that can lead to the inside of turn 2, providing he can get the drive. He goes a bit too wide there. This could be interesting. Forced to take the tight line. Collins is all amongst it. What that does, though, is that allows, even though Clark had to take the wide line there, he did get the drive out and holds on to that position for the, at least for the moment, as these two goes these three, I should say, go line astern. Oh, and then Collins a bit wider. It has brought the Stig back into it as well. So we jump back up the front, down the carousel now. We've got Team of Escalampy on the tail end of Smith now with the balance of 3 laps to go, 2.5 remaining. These guys really looking to get amongst it, AJ.
Yeah, that was a great job by Malcolm there to pull that up at turn 2. I thought he was going to get into the side of Clark there, but you know, that's great driving by them, showing that they deserve to be in the top split and they can handle the car on a hot track, so that's great. But yeah, Timu, well, he's shown that he can put the moves on. He's going to have to start pulling his finger out now. There's only 2 laps to go after this, after they cross the line, so I expect him to be looking for a move anywhere he can right now.
Not quite close enough now as they come down to the final corner and hairpin. Maybe trying the over-under here, but as we know, Smith holds that very tight line there through the final corner there, and on exit gets a good drive as a result. Did not leave the door open in the slightest for Vascalampi there as they cross the line with just the 2 laps remaining. Vascalampi all over the rear of that brightly coloured Skip Barber car of Smith in front of him. They go through the turn 2, right-hander once again. As you say, the balance of 2 laps remaining now as they come down the hill and then rise up again into 3A and then down the hill into this downhill braking zone. Vascalampi using every bit of the track and more this time through, trying to get the advantage on his ANZ combatant in front of him as they fight out the lead of this race. Jumping back to Russell Clark, still on the front of this 4-car pack with Malcolm. Oh, Clark running wide there. Has that opened the door for Malcolm? Yes, it has. Clark taking a defensive line on the inside. Cuts to the apex. Behind is Collins. Up the inside now, down through the carousel. That has brought Samuel Collins right into this. No, he was not able to get the drive out, and it is in fact Malcolm who gets the best drive out of the carousel this time. Looking to put pressure all over Clark as they approach the back hairpin now at turn 11. I beg your pardon, turn 7 and 7A. Once again, line astern. Nothing coming of that. It's 1.5 to go, boys. Get amongst it. But they're still fighting it out up front, of course. You got Benjamin Smith. No, Vascalampi. He's now dropped to a second back. I don't know what sort of happened there. Sorry, go ahead.
We had an incident going into the double right-hander back there. Timu had a massive look on the brakes and just got into the back of Benjamin. Not too much damage done, but yeah, it allowed Benjamin just to get that little gap out because Timu lost a bit of time while he was sideways and recovering that car.
Yeah, I'm just going to try and grab the replay now as they come into that hairpin. We'll just grab a look. Yeah, he's gone very hard on the brakes there. Managed to get really good turn in, but the rear of the car, he just didn't have control and just outbraked himself, as he said, and that was enough. No damage done to either car. Really well done by both drivers there, and but unfortunately that's probably put an end to Vascalampi's hopes there. He's still in the draft, but perhaps without time as they're on the final lap now. Kevin Henderson running a lone solo race now as Chris Malcolm has got that move done. No, he's held on to P5 now as he's right up the tailpipe of Russell Clark now in the flashy red helmet as they run down towards the carousel. This time Collins, we know he likes to look up the inside here. Oh, he's just almost outbraked himself there and caught Chris Malcolm in the rear and turned him. But fortunately for everyone involved, that was not the case as they run down to turn 7 hairpin now. What's Clark going to do? Is he going to take the defensive line or has he got enough? No, he's got enough. Turns in quite early to that apex. Holds onto the speed and drives out of it again. Holding on to that P4 for everything he has got. Jumping back up the front, Timo Vascalampi still that 1.3 seconds now. Ben Smith looking like he is going to run away with this one, folks, as he comes down to the final corner of the final lap. Number 1 and 2 plated drivers looking to have had a great race and also bag a great deal of points and iRating out of this, as Ben Smith now looking to cross the line in P1. Timo Vascalampi just in trailing off in the distance, with Kevin Henderson now coming across for a hard and well-earned P3. Well, it wasn't hard in the end. He was there on his own. Russell Clark now leading that pack, and they are going to finish as they have crossed the line in the past few laps in running order there, with Timo Weemer all the way down in P7. Well, AJ, as the last few stragglers cross the line, where's Mr. Sheridan finished? He's come across in P11 and in the Monday Night Lights points. Actually, he's jagged P10 on the line. Great drive, Shero. Mick Gray now finishing just ahead of a hard charging Francisco Rodriguez, with Les Peck down there in P14. AJ, what did you make of that little job lot?
Yeah, no, that was a great race, and it looks like it didn't really matter where you were in the pack. There were great little battles going on, and I was surprised. You know, this track, it is difficult to pass on, so I was surprised to see so many passes going on up the front, and you know, they've really put on some great racing and showed, you know, everyone showed that they have pretty good car control around here. So, you know, I was surprised that there were so many passes, but I'm also surprised in a way that we didn't see any really major accidents either.
Yeah, a little bit early on, but you're right. Everyone showed good patience and good control here. Of course, it was very desperately hard to pass as we're just following Michael Fiedler here, as he was the one with the early incident that we were talking about, just coming to complete his race. And as he does so, why don't we take a look at our results overall? Of course, we're here at Sonoma once again, with round 7 now, run and won by Mr. Benjamin Smith representing ANZ. Great to see a local boy out in front. P2 went to Timo Vascalampi, great member of the Skippy community. Great to see him out getting a good result. Kevin Henderson, another great member of the Skippy community, in P3. I bet he'll be smiling all the way to the bank with those M&L points as well. Russell Clark, great result for him. We were talking about him being the only one in the top 5 for the running here tonight, and picking up some great points towards his season 14 tilt. Chris Malcolm in P5 from UK&I. Strong performance from him. Samuel Collins in the middle of that 4-car pack in P6. The Golden Stig himself, Timo Weemer, who graciously joined us in the booth tonight, in P7. Down a few spots, qualified well, still getting some good points to round out what's been a pretty good week for the Stig. Paul Crone from California in P8. Pretty quiet race from him by the looks. Jean-Francois Boscos from France in P9. Brian Sheridan making his entry into the top split of Monday Night Lights, finishing in the top 10, and I'm sure he enjoyed every moment of it. P11, Jason Browers from ANZ. P12, Mick Gray in the M&L points and still in the runnings for the season from ANZ in P12. P13, Francisco Javier Cano Rodriguez, proving I need a smaller font with that name in P13. P14, Mr. Les Peck from Team Venom and ANZ. Not in the points tonight, but certainly no doubt had a bit of fun out there on track. P15 went to Craig Briley from ANZ. Simon Chambers, Mr. Australasian Super Skips himself, in P16, and Michael Fiedler would have been hoping for better, down 14 positions after qualifying in P3, finishing all the way back in P17. AJ, quite an exciting race, even if we were down on some of our regulars. The guys who turned up put on a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. And just having a look at Michael Fiedler there, he'll be disappointed. He had the pace, I think, to probably run up there with the front runners tonight. But yeah, having a look, Timo Weemer putting a pretty impressive move down the inside, but unfortunately making contact with Fiedler through turn 2 on lap 1. And then it looks like Fiedler's just been collected by Kevin Henderson. A little bit of a net code, and that's killed his rear suspension. And as you know, in the Skippy, the rear end's so fragile. Once that happens, then it's pretty much game over.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Now we've got a few gentlemen in the commentary, in the what's the name? What am I saying? The booth ready to come up for an interview. We'll grab them in finishing order. I wasn't expecting so many at this stage, but let's grab Mr. Benjamin Smith, our race winner here tonight. Well, start to finish almost, mate, with a bit of action in between. How was the racing out there for you tonight?
Yeah, g'day guys. It was pretty nice introduction back into Monday Night Lights. Yeah, it was. I was a bit worried off the start. I don't have a clutch pedal, so I just had to button it and hope for the best, and it worked out all right. And Timu was on my tail all night, so just trying to keep my eyes focused on my apexes and keep forward. And yeah, apart from a couple of the odd exchanges, and I managed to get back past him. It was a good fight and a good victory.
Yeah, mate, I thought so too. I thought he might struggle there to hang on to you there for a while, or do more than hang on to you. But he showed that he could poke the nose in here or there, grab the lead. But you certainly showed you had what it takes to get back by him pretty comfortably, mate. And but it was great to see you out here on track tonight. Can we expect to see you a bit more regular here on a Monday night?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get back into it. All I just got a new PC, so looking to get on when work permits. So yeah, I'm pretty keen to get back into it.
Awesome, mate. Well, we'd be very welcoming of seeing your lovely painted livery here again on a Monday night. But fantastic return it was tonight. Not the most popular of tracks, so not the biggest challenge for you, although Tima did put on a good show with you there up front. But hopefully, if you can join us again in the coming weeks, we'll get some of our regulars here on the more popular tracks, and you can get right amongst it, mate. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, well, massive thanks to you guys for having this broadcasted, and obviously the guys at Evolution Racing team for having me back on board. Really keen to get back into it coming into the Pro Series. So yeah, the team sponsors Logitech G. So yeah, again, thanks guys, and I look forward to being back in the coming.
Beautiful. Well, thanks very much for joining us again, mate, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Well, there you have it. Benjamin Smith from Evolution Racing Australia. Of course, he's one of the top flight teams and no mug, clearly. Anyone in that team we know can steer, and certainly carrying the 6200 plus I rating is no joke. So great performance from him here tonight, and also from Timu for really mixing it up. I hope he's proud of his efforts tonight, because not only did he put on a good show for the viewers at home, but he had a good drive as well, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we can expect to see Timu back a bit more than, well, coupled with Ben as well, that's really going to spice up things at the front, because, you know, those guys were able to basically run qualifying laps the whole race. So, yeah, throw them in with the other regular front runners, and it's going to be really exciting to watch.
Absolutely. I'd love to see those guys back on a regular basis with some of our guys who weren't here tonight, the likes of Fantonitis and Grebstad, some of the other front runners there in Snell. And look, plenty to look forward to in the weeks to come. But looking forward to right now, going in finishing order, we will bring up once again Mr. Tim Awema, finishing all the way down in P7. I say all the way down in P7, mate. It's no podium, but certainly a good drive to consolidate your spot in the top split here tonight, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Look, tonight was a bit of an interesting race. I really had the pace on. Really had a great qualifier, but what let me down is my driving into that first corner. And apologies to Michael Fiedler. I took him out, and from that, I actually got a lot of side pod damage. So the pace, I was down on speed. So all the guys just caught me and went past me tonight. So 7th was what I could hold on to.
Yeah, mate. And thanks for taking the live cross. I know that was something new for us, and I wondered if it dropped you off a little bit during the time in terms of concentration, but you certainly had your opportunities towards the end there and jagging a nice, good seventh position. As you say, pace for the top five, but just out of it here tonight. But hopefully we'll see you back in the top split next week with any luck.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm going to put in a lot of practice this week out at Belle Isle. So hopefully I can get some more iRating out there and definitely cement that position in there. So yeah, no, I'm really loving the time in the top split at the moment. So it's really good.
Excellent, mate. Well, surely there'll be plenty more action ahead of you in the coming weeks. So anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight, mate?
Yeah, just our sponsor Morgan's Cranes and to the Venom Racing team. And it was good to see those guys in here tonight as well with Les Peck. So, no, really good.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, Tim. We'll talk to you again hopefully next week.
Thank you.
There you go, AJ, representing the ANZ Club and Team Venom Racing, of course, tonight. The Golden Stick himself, Tim Awema. Only his second week in the top split. I mean, it's hard to back up after a podium in your first one, but he was in amongst it tonight. And I think with a few more runs under his belt, we might even see him having some more top flight performances.
Yeah, well, it's not like this, isn't it? Where you have to look at the positives for your driving and qualify in P4, and he still had pace to be up there with, that pack of Russell, Chris, and Samuel, even after those incidents. So he might be a bit dejected, didn't do quite as well as he'd hoped, but qualifying that high up and mixing it still with the other guys, nothing to be disappointed with.
No, absolutely right. And speaking of nothing to be disappointed with, we've got Mr. Brian Sheridan here. Brian, Mr. FNRC himself, Shero, with his debut in the top split tonight. Shero, how did the race unfold from your cockpit?
Yeah, good evening, Alex and Alex. Yeah, it was. Look, it was just great to achieve my goal, which was to try and make it to the top split event this week, and I got in there, and I didn't really do a lot. I just tried to keep the car on track and stay behind a couple of guys like Mr. Peck, but I think I managed to pass two guys overall. Jason Bro was right at the finish there, and the rest were freebies. But yeah, just staying on track was my whole goal, mate, and keeping the incidents down as low as I could. I couldn't see what was happening up front. I knew there were some issues happening with some of the guys up front, but as I said to Tim Awema after the race, I started from the back right. I don't see that up there.
That's it, mate. Well, there was good action, and I've got to tell you, most of the guys kept their noses clean. There wasn't much by way of biff and barge, but this track making it hard to pass and really testing the guys. We talk a lot about the challenging nature of this track, and the guys out tonight made a really good fist of it. But certainly a lot of our club mates from the Friday Night Race Club represented here and in the second split, but which is what it's all about, getting everyone out on track and having a good night, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Craig Russell actually, I think, won the second split event, so he went well. And yeah, look, tonight the track was 48 degrees, I think, out there. It was super slippery, and I'm a bit out of my depth there, and it's not a favourite track of mine, that's for sure. So I was just trying to stay out there and stay on track and not slide into somebody. And as you say, everybody was really great with their skill level. It was just a few mistakes was the only chance you got to make a pass on somebody. There's not a lot of places here you can make a pass.
No, that's right. Yeah, great to see. I've just got the second split results up in front of me, and yeah, you're right. Our resident engineer, Craig Russell, he's done very well and taken out the second split, which is not easy to do. But thanks again for joining us here on track and in the booth tonight, mate. Really appreciate it. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Well, I'd have to say thank you to Central Coast Subaru in Gosford, New South Wales, our sponsors for FNRC, of course, which I've got all over my car. And thank you to you guys for doing the broadcast. And thank you to my mum for letting me.
Perfect. Yeah, great to see the support for clubs like the Friday Night Race Club from the likes of Central Coast Subaru. They do a fantastic job for us, and as do yourself, Sheriff. So on behalf of the community, thanks for all your efforts, and thanks for your efforts on track tonight.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Brian Sheridan, after cracking it for a run in the top split and certainly not embarrassing himself, finishing with a top 10 performance, AJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, FNRC, there's a few boys in there, especially in the second split, and I know that their I ratings aren't as high as they should be. So perhaps we'll see a few more of the FNRC crew in the top split in the coming races.
Well, that'd be great to see some of the local community who are starting to get behind this event crack it for what they deserve in the top split as well, right? That just takes a bit of seat time, a bit more track time for the in the Skip Barber series and others where they can get their skills up and mix it with some of the best in the world. We'll bring up for our final interview tonight, Mr. Corey Steinhauser, who was in the second split and might be our roving reporter for what went on in that race. Corey, how did things shape up in the second split tonight?
Well, as you alluded to before, it was very well FNRC representation in both splits, with FNRC taking out the 3 of the top 5 positions in second split.
Yeah, mate. Look like I can see you got Craig Russell in first, Eduardo Massa Saboya in P2 with Mark Jeffrey, recent member of the Friday Night Race Club and representing Team Venom in P3 with Paul Beatty and Craig Bott. So in fact, it was 4 out of the top 5 from Friday Night Race Club with Chris Polly again in P8 and yourself, of course, in P10. So well represented. Oh, Pete as well down in P15, Pete Matson. So what I love about this and the whole element of club racing is that is getting people out on track and involved and enjoying themselves, mate. And I hope that was the case for you tonight.
Well, it definitely was indeed. I probably wouldn't be doing races like this if it wasn't for, getting accepted by you guys into the Friday Night Race Club. And, that's why I'm out here doing this now, because it's a lot of fun. You guys are a great bunch of guys, and I'm meeting so many more new people that are pretty cool and, good to race with. And the race tonight for second split was very clean. I think there was only 1 or 2 major incidents. I know Ken Hames, the 3 car, he came and got in the final lap there, and I managed to drag race him to the line and just pip him at the line there.
Yeah, it looks like it was just the 3/10 separating you at the end there, mate. Ken is a great skippy driver, fantastic bloke, and enjoys his racing like all of us do, mate. But that's what it is all about, as you say, getting out there with a good bunch of mates and having a good time, and that's why we do it. We say this is by the community, for the community, and that's what it's all about, mate. Well, before we let you go tonight, thank you for joining us, and is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to Friday Night Race Club. You guys are awesome. Central Coast Subaru for sponsoring Friday Night Race Club. I'd also like to thank you guys for broadcasting this event, and facebook.com/Speedway Meme 69, my personal sponsor and a page that I run. And it was a lot of fun.
Awesome, mate. And of course, those you don't know, Corey does a bit of streaming himself, well known for his dirt oval stuff, mate. Where can people find you on Twitch?
On Twitch, you can find me at twitch.tv/Corey Has No Life 13. And on YouTube, if you search for Corey Has No Life, you can see some of my post recorded stream stuff, and also Aussie Sim commentator for NASCAR broadcasting that I do on Wednesday midday.
Awesome, mate. Now, Corey Has No Life 13. Are you telling me there's 12 other Corys that don't have a life?
Well, technically, that would mean that there's 13 other Corys that don't have a life, because you've got to have the one who doesn't have a number, and then the previous 12 with numbers.
That's right. All right, mate. Thank you for joining us here tonight, and hopefully we'll see you a bit more on track in the future.
Hopefully, one of these days I can make it into top split and get into the broadcast myself.
Even better, mate. We look forward to seeing you then.
All right,
Oh, sorry, Corey. There we go, AJ. That was it for our interviews tonight, and a good bunch of blokes. And the common theme there, of course, is the local community, whether it be in clubs like or leagues like the Friday Night Race Club, or indeed here, what we do each and every Monday night with the Skip Barber Monday Night Lights event. It's all about getting good guys out on track, having a good time, mate. And I'm pleased to say that's what we had here again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. A very local flavour tonight. I see Aussies dominating throughout the both of the splits tonight. But yeah, looking forward. Hopefully, we'll get some of that international flavour back for next week at Belle Isle.
Yeah, absolutely. Belle Isle should be massive for round 8. A very popular track amongst all categories of racing, and certainly the Skip Barbers are no exception. Now, AJ, where can the folks find you this week?
I'll be back online, AJ_77 at Twitch TV for Friday Night Race Club and Saturday as well, I believe. And I'm going to have a tilt at the iRacing World Cup, I think it's called, racing Lotus 79s around Brands Hatch and putting in an Australian team to go up against the rest of the world.
Sounds exciting, mate. Needless to say, the Lotus 79s are exciting on their own, but representing Australia in the World Cup of iRacing, a new challenge in of itself. That sounds like a lot of fun. Of course, you can catch that on AJ's Twitch channel, and myself, I'll be out on Twitch as well a couple of times later this week, most notably Friday and Saturday nights, of course, at the Top Split TV Twitch channel. But for now, folks, that about winds up or brings to a close round 7 of Monday Night Lights here from Sonoma. On behalf of Alex John, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and until next time, we will say thank you for watching and ciao for now.